one of the greats, Hall of Famer, and love listening to him on Fox and joining us in advance of the American Century Championship Tournament, where he will be in that mix in Lake Tahoe next month. John Smoltz here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, John? Good to see you.
I'm doing great. Hey, does the young man know he'll be playing his college first 2 years on probation? Does he know?
See, no, John. No, John. No, John. No, John.
No?
John. You've been away.
Yeah.
You might have missed this, but no. The president of the NCAA even said last year, as Michigan was being dominant and getting to the national championship podium, there's not much there. So no, he won't be on any probation. John.
Gotcha.
Don't be happy.
That's good to know.
You know what? It's kind of funny when players, and I don't know if you ever said this when you won your championship and you were going on championship runs, that no one can ever take this away from us. And everyone's like, who's trying to take it away from you? You. John Smoltz is trying to take it away. You're trying to. You and all your Spartans.
I'm not one of those Spartans that didn't root for Michigan. I was rooting for Michigan. So I'm a home state, all in. If Michigan State can't win, then Michigan is allowed to win. I don't hate on them like every true hardcore fan. So I was happy for them.
Well, and then I appreciate you saying that, which kind of makes it even worse for me to say. I'll return the favor whenever that day might actually come. I just hope, it's sometime this decade, John,
Yeah, it'll be basketball before it's football.
And by the way, Izzo is one of my favorites. So now we can hug it out. John Smoltz here on the Rich Eisen Show. So how do the injuries to Yamamoto and Mookie Betts harm the Dodgers' long-term success in 2024 in your mind, John?
Yeah, the only thing it does is it diminishes maybe how many wins they were going to get to win their division by. I mean, they safely, unless somebody gets super hot in the National League West, they safely will win the division. And they should still get one of the two best records in the National League. Their roster was built for it. But there's no doubt between them and the Braves, you couldn't ask or want two guys to get hurt like these two guys did for each organization. So it's definitely something that's different for the Dodgers because they're going to get them back. The Braves aren't getting theirs back. So they have to play the remainder of the year without their two stars. So at least you're getting them back, and the Dodgers are in the right division right now. Again, given something unforeseen with either the Padres or the Giants or the Diamondbacks, it's really not going to hurt their chances of putting themselves in position for that deep postseason run that they're hoping for.
And then Anthony Rizzo goes down on Sunday night in Fenway Park as the Red Sox take the last two games of a series. You were in Fenway over the weekend. Did the Red Sox expose anything on the Yankees over this weekend, John?
It's a great question. I kind of think they did in this regard. Look, the Yankees lineup works starting pitchers about as good as anybody. They take a lot of pitches. They're deep in counts, and they kind of take care of business as they should when they're built right. But what happened with the Red Sox, they spun a lot of breaking balls to them. They got ahead of them early, and they really took the sting out of their lineup. And I don't know if that's a format moving forward that you can have success against the Yankees, but it made them go just a little bit neutral and backwards to think that they're a little more human because they were on such a great roll. So give the Red Sox credit. On paper, there were some mismatches, and they didn't adhere to it, and they won 2 out of 3, and they're now won 6 in a row where they almost feel like they could be a playoff team. There wasn't a lot expected out of the Red Sox. So, again, good thing they don't play the game on paper because they have the hottest starter in baseball, Rodon, pitching, and then this guy named Criswell just carved up a little bit of the lineup, even though he only went 4 innings. So I think you're right. There's a little bit of that concern that creeps in every once in a while. But I'm sure that the Yankees will figure out a way to close that door.
Well, again,
offensively.
Yeah, they have 50 wins. They got their 50th win on Friday night, but then they lost the last two. There was the Boston 3 party in hoops on Tuesday night, and the Boston Steel party over the weekend. They stole 9 bases on the Yankees in one game. So that's something else they potentially may have exposed. Garrett Cole, though, does return on Wednesday. What are you looking to see out of Garrett Cole, John?
I think the biggest thing is he knows how to pitch with the stuff he has, and he may have used one more, let's just say, rehab start to build his numbers up, but he's going to do that now. And he's facing probably the second best team, or some people think the best team in the American League, the Baltimore Orioles. So that's going to be a good test for him. But I think the fact that he has been so experienced in how he pitches with his stuff, that he won't overthrow. He won't try to do too much. And I'd say 3 starts is the maximum that it should take for him to get into a groove. When you've had an injury and you've missed this amount of time, I don't care how good you are, it still takes you about 3 starts to get in that routine that you're used to.
John Smoltz here on the Rich Eisen Show, and the conversation about the Orioles. Last year, obviously, they may have arrived earlier than expected, and this year seems to be a terrific follow-up to it. Are they a better team this year, do you think, than last year, John?
On the surface, yes. On the roster, no. They lost some really big pitching. But they are a much better team with what they went through last year. They have a young core that is absolutely hungry. They are a good hitting team in a ballpark that is kind of taking care of their pitchers, with left field being about 380 now. And I just think that if the epidemic of injuries doesn't slow down, every team's vulnerable. So it's kind of hold your breath. No matter how good you are, if you don't have 12 deep that could start a game during the regular season, think about how absurd that is for me to say 12 deep. That's what it takes for teams to get through a season now. And I think that's the only thing that holds them back. We know they lost their dominant closer last year, but then when they lose 2, 3, 4 starters, that puts them in a very vulnerable position. But so far, so good. They have been holding the ship steady with missing those guys. And hopefully Bradish is not gone for the year.
And are the Phillies the best team you've seen in person this year so far, John?
I think what they're built for is this kind of chip on their shoulder, last year, sour taste in the mouth. Yes, they have a roster that has got the least amount of weaknesses. They have to stay healthy. They've had their best catcher go down. He'll be back. They had Trey Turner coming back. So I think they definitely have cured up most of their issues that were kind of plaguing them the last 3 to 4 years. Their bullpen's way better, and they just have a chip on their shoulder. If they get to the playoffs in a position, which would be ironic, let's just say they get the best record and they have to wait the 5 days, see how they handle it, because they've beaten the best team in baseball the last 2 years when they had the 5-day break in the Atlanta Braves. So this will be an interesting dynamic, especially if the Braves end up playing the Phillies in a reverse role. So we'll see what happens.
And it seems every year, John, there's some team post-All-Star break that just goes on a run, some magical run. It all fits. It all guts together. Is there one team that you can identify? I know you don't have a crystal ball. This is one of those tough predicting type questions. But if you could say that's the team that I think can either make a move or iron out some rough spots from the first half to go on some sort of second half run to make them dangerous to potentially even win it all, would be which team, John?
I think this team management will have to change their philosophy in a drastic way and start adding for a change. The Pittsburgh Pirates are the most intriguing team in the National League with their power arms at the front of the rotation, and they have a chance to spoil a lot of people's dreams if they make the dance. But they've got to add. They got to stop doing what they've been doing and kind of recoiling every time they get in a position of just adding talent and trading their superstars. So to me, they're intriguing, along with the Cincinnati Reds. And certainly the St. Louis Cardinals have battled back. But I think the most dangerous team, with Jones and Skenes and Heller and all the different things they have going for them, man, I would not want to play the Pittsburgh Pirates when it comes down to a short series, yet alone any kind of series. And that's given they give the leash and manage the innings of those 2 young pitchers.
Yeah, only a half game out of the wild card, despite being 2 games under 500 in this crazy National League mosh pit, but a game and a half out of the second best seed in the wild card picture. I mean, Skenes 4-0, 53 strikeouts and 39 and a third, 7 starts so far, just 7 walks with an ERA of 2.29. How good do you think he is and can be, John?
Well, I would say he's this good, and I can't find too many pitchers other than Jacob deGrom that you could say this. He could throw all fastballs and win a baseball game. He wouldn't even need his secondary stuff. Now, he's becoming a complete pitcher, and the only thing he risks with that low 3/4 angle is that slider can get a little flat at times, and that's the pitch that they can only have a chance on. But when he's right and he throws his fastball in the command zone that he is an illusion that hitters don't like to see. It's an awkward, big guy, release point so different than what we're used to. And again, I cross my fingers. I hope he stays healthy. But you know what the rhetoric is, and you know what baseball has had a problem with is these hard-throwing, flame-throwing freaks are not lasting as long as they should. So I hope he's an outlier, and I hope that the Pittsburgh Pirates can start keeping their own talent instead of us talking about all the great pitching that is with everybody else. And they need to start keeping their own talent, build that fan base back, and be relevant again. And baseball's better when they are.
Are you a proponent of the pitch clock? Is at fault for a lot of the arm troubles we're seeing, John?
Not even a 2% reason. I mean, it's so cop-out answer that it's not even in the relative scope. The two biggest parts of reasons that the guys, first of all, they're chasing the reward system that is getting them paid. So I don't blame them. Max velocity and the grip of the baseball. The baseball has changed over time. It hasn't been able to perfect what we all can view as acceptable grip so that pitchers don't have to put their forearm at risk with that grip. And then, of course, whenever you let science go too far, we saw what happened a year and a half ago with the substance. But max effort, spin rate. I'm telling you right now, people don't understand. I've been saying this for 10 years. You could throw 150 straight fastballs with no fear of results. Not care if you give up 100 home runs or 10 base hits. That is not detrimental to your arm. What's detrimental to your arm is redlining, max effort, trying to get results, spin it and break it as hard and as fast as you can. And that is the reality that we're in. And they're not asking pitchers to kind of get through 7 innings. They want them to give them everything they have for as long as they can, and they will take them out as soon as it gets to 95 pitches. There's no scientific evidence in it. They have not been able to shorten or even slow down the injury rate, but nobody talks about it because they just move on. And so whenever somebody talks about the realities of what's going on, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And that's what we've got. So they've got to change the reward system, or they're going to make a rule change in 2 years to effectively change the philosophy of how we view starting pitching.
How do they do that? What's the rule change?
Oh, they're going to do it just like they did that made the game vibrant again. They're going to make a rule change in either roster limits. So if you have roster limits and pitchers and the amount that you can use, you're going to ask them to do different things. If you get creative, like I said about 3 years ago, I said, tie your starting pitcher to the DH. And everyone goes, you have lost your mind. I said, but no, think about it. If you wanted a competitive advantage and you come up with a crazy idea like that, are you going to start an opener? Are you going to start a guy and then have 4 pinch hits the rest of the game and try to navigate the game that way? So baseball has been trying to self-correct on its own, and they realize philosophically they won't. So what do? They enlarge the bases. They change the shift. They change the pitch clock. We got a game that's action-filled again and moving along. Well, the same applies for philosophy to pitching. You think anyone's going to change philosophy, even though the injury rate's going through the roof, and this has been happening the last 5 years? No way. So there will be some creative rule changes down the pike. They're doing some studies, they're trying to figure it out, but it's right there before everybody's eyes. And no one wants to talk about it because they just want the next guy to just fill in, and we'll just keep getting the next guy up.
So don't have the pitchers hit, but still act as if they are in the lineup as a hitter. So anytime you change the starting pitcher, you have to change the designated hitter. Is that what you're saying, John?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So now if you want a competitive advantage over the next organization and your pitchers are only going 5 1/3 on average, you're going to have to fill 2 pinch hits. But if you get a pitcher to go 7 innings, if he goes 7 innings and his arm doesn't fall off, then you only have 1 pinch hit that you have to worry about. So I think those are ways that you would take an organization and say, we're going to still play it the same way. All right, good for you. You try to survive that way. And then other organizations are going to say, you know what, we've got to look at it differently because I don't want to have 4 pinch hitters in a game, every game that we play, because we know no one throws a complete game. So the threshold is, how do you move starting pitchers from 5 1/3 to possibly 6 1/3 to possibly 7 innings?
John Smoltz here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, for those listening, John Smoltz appears to be in a spot working on his game in advance of the American Century Championship tournament he's on to talk about. And, you got your golf shirt on. It looks like you're in a very nice spot on the top floor of some sort of living arrangement where you're going to be there multiple days. Have I nailed this down right, John? You're there?
Yeah, this is my home. my home club, Hawks Ridge, already got 18 in. Going to go play another 18.
All right.
Working on the game, trending in the right direction. And I am I finished 6th in January in the celebrity event.
Okay.
2nd in April at the tournament in Dallas. And there's only one spot left, right? I mean, 6th, 2nd, 1st.
Correct.
For Tahoe.
Right.
That's it.
So we're going to get past Vinny Del Negro this time, John? Or what do we got here?
We're going to get past Romo. We're going to get past Martin Fish, Mark Mulder. We're going to get past – I don't know if the defending champ is going to be able to play because of the Olympics. Curry, of course, won it last year. We're going to get by them all. This is a plan that has been working in progress for a while. 2 new hips, first time going into Tahoe with 2 brand new hips. So standing on my legs for 5 hours and 45 minutes is not going to be an issue why I don't win. It'll be because I just didn't make enough putts. So I'm ready. I'm 57. Yeah. I'm on a mission, right? Yeah. I'm on a mission, and I'm going to be the oldest winner to ever win Tahoe.
This is something for you to shoot for, no question about that. How low do you have to be? I mean, because again, we're Stableford. What's the number? Right. What's the winning number?
So I got to average 25 points a game a round. Okay. That's going to be pretty strong, but that's what I've got to get to. And I'm the par king out there. I get the most pars of anybody every year, and it's only worth 1 point. That's no value. So I'm going to turn into I'm turning into birdies or bogeys. That's all I care about. Birdies and bogeys, because I'm going to be aggressive. Birdies is 3 points. Bogey is 0. If I make enough birdies, they way outweigh the amount of pars that I've made in the past.
That's kind of like a basketball way of looking at it. More threes, take as many threes as you possibly can, and turn down the 2-point attempts, because the number of if you blitz with the threes, it's better. The math adds up. I like it, John.
Yeah, one would say, yeah. And I think this approach will have to be a little bit more aggressive from round one. The reason I don't, for whatever reason, win tournaments more than I should, it's because of round one. I'm way too conservative, and I always think that I can work my way into the tournament by being okay first round, but then there's too much to pick up after that. So I'm going for it. Course record, maybe. Just try to shoot course records every single time.
Now, who do they pair you with? Do they pair you with equal sticks, or do they just throw anybody in there and you gotta fight through that first round with some duffer out there holding you up, John? How does this work? What is
in the past it used to be Glavine and Maddox, and look, I played a ton of golf with those 2 guys. Yeah. I mean, it's not that I don't want to play with them, but playing with other people every once in a while is nice. It's a random thing, and it's usually pretty good golfers that I get to play with. Played with Annika a few times. Okay. I have yet to be in a group at Tahoe, I believe, with Marty Fish. I really want to stare the bully down. He's our best. And I really want to be able to just look him in the eyes and just say something. Wow. I don't know what it is yet. Okay. But he's the best, and he's one of the greatest guys in the world. He is. So he's the one that beat me in Dallas. He birdied the last hole. I double bogeyed the last hole. Oh. I'm kind of over it. I've learned from it. I've moved on. I didn't go outdoors for a couple of weeks, and now I'm fine. Everything's fine.
I think did Marty win you or us a free golf bag once?
Free travel bag.
Oh yeah, we
played with Marty before.
Yeah, we've ridden the Marty Fish train to free stuff, John. Yeah. We've done that before. So good luck. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
You're the best, John. Thanks for the time, man. Go hit him straight again.
Appreciate it.
Thanks again.
You got it.
That's John Smoltz. Everybody check out the American Century Championship Tournament in less than a month from now. Friday, July 12th through the 14th on NBC. Special coverage on Peacock and the Golf Channel. It's John Smoltz here on The Rich Eisen Show.
Love it.
Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.